Hey everyone, my name's Clint, also known as Saber with the Hamilton Beyblade community, and today I'm making a video that is probably gonna ruffle some feathers. For sure I'll never be getting a sponsorship from, say, a few big retailers who shall not be named that frequently sponsor big YouTubers in the community, but frankly they can stuff it. I'm making this video because I've seen what can be accurately described as an epidemic of people in the Beyblade X community severely and chronically overpaying for Takara Tomy product. And a community is currently niche in the West as Beyblade X. Seeing so many players' ignorance be exploited en masse for profit leaves a bad taste in my mouth. The only exception to be supporting your local game store running events. After all, you can't play Beyblade X on Mercari. So I think overpaying to support a local store that's giving the community a place to meet and play is totally fine. Obviously, there's a convenience factor as well, not having to wait for shipping. So today I'm going to teach you how to acquire Takara Tomy product, mostly Japanese, straight from the source in Japan, rather than relying on, and I'm going to be blunt here, scalping resellers. So obviously there are two ways people purchase product domestically in Japan. You have in-person retail stores like brick and mortar stores and online retailers. Obviously, I'm going to assume you have no plans to visit Japan, so unless you know someone who lives there, we can safely ignore option one. So what about option two? Well, if you've ever looked into this before, you may have noticed almost all Japanese online retailers only ship domestically within Japan, with like no international shipping. Amazon Japan's one notable exception. We'll get back to them and some others in a bit. So does that mean we're screwed for this option too, unless we know someone living in Japan? Well, technically yes, but as it turns out, we do know, quote-unquote, someone in Japan. There exists an entire industry of what is known as proxies or proxy sellers. And what they do is they buy product on your behalf within Japan, ship it to their warehouse, and then they ship it to you. So using proxy sellers, you can purchase products, not just Beyblade X either, from virtually any Japanese online retailer and get them shipped to you internationally by using the proxy seller as a middleman. And today I'm going to teach you how that works and run through my recommendations for proxy services. Afterwards, I'll talk briefly about a few retailers that ship internationally as well. So today I'm going to use the examples of Zen Market and Buy. These are my two preferred proxy services. In my experience, they're the best overall proxies in terms of like fee structure, customer service, speed, overall ease of use. And in particular with Zen Market, they're probably the most beginner-friendly proxy services as well. Buy's website's a little bit jankier laid out. They haven't updated it in ages, but like it's relatively easy to figure out. So Zen Market, they offer bonuses for new users, which is cool. The one thing is you have to make sure you remember what email you use for your account. You don't want to be locked out of your Zen Market account because they only allow you to make one. That way you're not exploiting their new user benefits. They'll actually just ban your accounts if you make multiple, so don't even try it. That being said, as of the time of recording this, Buy is, in my opinion, an overall better option for Beyblade X product. I'll get into the specifics of why later, but the long story short is Buy is just cheaper right now, and actually lately they've been quicker too. So I'll show you Zen Market first because they have a really nicely laid out website, very beginner friendly. So it works well for a demonstration. So the first thing you want to do is obviously make an account. I'm not going to walk you through that. There's going to be a big fat create account button. You can't miss it. I can't really show you because I already have an account. So you make an account and then you're ready to get shopping. So the $1 million question is, what are the best retailers to get Beyblade X products from? So the best I've found are Amazon Japan, Toys R Us Japan, Big Camera, Takara Tomy Mall, obviously like straight from the source, and then for secondary markets, so like individual sellers, like not actual official retailers, Mercari. I'll get more into Mercari later. So for Takara Tomy Mall, it's worth noting, if you know anything about TT Mall, this is where you redeem Japanese gacha app codes. So you can redeem those using Zen Market, but you cannot redeem, like, that only works for actual purchase tickets. So at the time of filming, that's like your Blue Night Mail that you can redeem through Zen Market. But Zen Market has a policy where they don't redeem free products because they want a dollar value attached to everything they ship for customs and just generally to cover their own behinds. So they won't redeem free codes. If you have a Valkyrie Volt code, you can't redeem that, but you can redeem Blue Night Mail codes. I haven't tried any of this on Buyee yet, so I can't comment on Buyee. Last I heard, they do redeem both. Just I haven't done it personally, so I can't confirm. I'm sure a quick Google search will give you the answer to that, or you can just try it and see what happens. So let's start with the official retailers in Japan, which is mostly used for currently available regular product. So what I like to do personally is go to each of my preferred websites and bookmark them for easy access. So I'll go on Amazon Japan, search Beyblade X, and bookmark the search result. Do that with actually Toys R Us. They actually have a dedicated category on their website for spinning tops, i.e. mostly Beyblades. So I just bookmarked that. Big camera, same deal. Just search Beyblade X, bookmarked it, yada, 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 etc., etc. And the reason I do that is because Beyblade X is actually like huge in Japan, like really, really popular. And so product sells out really fast. And stock levels and prices fluctuate a lot because of that. So you'll often have to check multiple retailers to find what you're looking for and to get the best price. So let's start with Amazon Japan. So you may be asking, if Amazon Japan ships internationally, why use a proxy? So the issue with Amazon Japan internationally is that, at least here in Canada, they exclusively use DHL courier shipping, which is insanely expensive. On top of that, they also charge additional fees in their customs pre-collection process. So when you ship a normal parcel from Japan, or like anywhere really, to internationally to Canada, and I'm sure this works this way with most countries, you pay for customs after your parcel goes through your local customs office, i.e. arrives in the country. What Amazon likes to do in order to streamline the process is they collect the customs up front. That way you don't have to worry about it later. But when they do that, they overcharge the hell out of you and then refund it later if necessary. But either way, even at the end of the day, you're still going to be overpaying for customs on top of the already ridiculous expensive shipping. So in the long run, in my humble opinion, you're much better off just biting the proxy fee and just buying Amazon product through a proxy. You're going to save more money in the long run. That way you can ship through like EMS. You have like any option of shipping service you want. You're not just stuck with the ludicrously expensive DHL. So you may have noticed on the Zen Market website, they actually have a search function you can use that has, you can select what retailer and then search your query for the different main retailers they support. So this works very well for retailers with like tidy, or just online stores with tidy listings, like say Mercari. I really like it for Mercari. It's borderline useless for Amazon because, as you probably know, Amazon also allows marketplace selling, and those listings are often duplicate to official shipped and sold by Amazon listings, and so their storefront's a friggin' mess. And so when you're searching on Zen Market or Buyee, what you're doing is you're asking Zen Market to basically search for you on Amazon, and then it just like fetches the results from that storefront and then spits it out through the Zen Market website. And because the Amazon storefront's such a mess, it just doesn't work very well. So for Amazon, I recommend just going on the Amazon website and searching that way. For any other retailer, you can just search through Zen Market or Buyee. It works very well. So what I like to do for Amazon is I just search Beyblade X and then just scroll through listings, because Amazon, their stock levels are not always the greatest because they sell out very quickly. They tend to have very good pricing. So that mostly you'll only find relatively recent or like kind of like all-time bestseller product on Amazon. But on Amazon One, you're not going to have to pay for shipping. You get free shipping through Amazon domestically, like from Amazon to the proxy. And they tend to have very good pricing. Like you'll see here, Samurai Caliber, Impact Drake, Spear, the Battle Pass, all of those are on sale right now. Like typically most of what you see on Amazon will be on sale, and so you tend to get pretty good prices from there. It's just a question of whether or not what you're looking for is available. You also go, it's a little bit tricky in finding some of the listings. Like there's not a whole lot listed, but what some of these, if you go into them, not this one apparently, they actually like have condensed listings. I think Pegasus Blast is one. Yeah, see, you have the different options, and all the CX bays are all within this one listing. So sometimes you have to like dig a little bit to like actually find what you're looking for. It's kind of a pain in the arse if I'm being completely honest, but they're a good resource. So the way there's a trick to buying stuff through a proxy, and that's optimizing fees. So because you're not actually buying anything from the proxy, they're just a service that buys things for you. They have to make money somehow, and the way they make money is by charging you fees. So the fee structures for Buy and Zen Market are very similar, but with some very key small differences that have a huge impact. So Zen Market's fee is 500 yen per SKU, and that includes insurance. They don't have any kind of options. It's just a flat fee. Here's your insurance. The asterisk is, as of just a couple days ago, for specifically Mercari, it's 800 yen, which single-handedly makes Zen Market a worse option for Mercari than Buy, because there's another asterisk to their fees, and that, so for Zen Market, you don't just buy product on Zen Market. You can't just like link a payment method and then just pay for stuff. You have to manually add funds to your Zen Market account and then use those funds to buy the product. And the trick is when you go to add funds, you'll see there's actually a 3.5% deposit fee. So for the Scorpio Spear, for example, it's 1818 yen right now, which currently works out to 1794 Canadian. If I try to add 1818 yen, it's going to charge you 1859 Canadian because of that 3.5% convergence deposit fee. And that applies obviously not just to your upfront cost of a product. It's every single payment you ever make on Zen Market will always have a 3.5% fee tacked on top of it. So you're going to be paying fees on fees on fees. And that actually adds up quite a bit. Whereas Buy does not have this. Buy is just straight up, you want to buy the Scorpio Spear, it's a 1794 to your payment method. That's it. It's much more streamlined, and they're not charging you the currency conversion fee. So you'll actually save, in the long run, a lot of money off Buy. The way Buy's fees work is it's 300. So they have two options. They have a standard base fee of 300 yen per transaction. I'll get back to that. But that's uninsured. So if your parcel goes missing or is damaged, they won't contact the post office to search for the parcel if it's missing, and they won't cover any product that's damaged or not as described. If you want it insured, it's an extra 500 yen for a total of 800 yen. That being said, for like Beyblade X product, for example, if you're buying a Samurai Caliber for 1091 yen, so around $10 Canadian, do you really want to spend an extra $5 to have that insured? You're going to be paying 50% of the product's cost just for insurance. In my opinion, not worth it, but I'll leave that up to you. So if you're willing to take that chance with Buy, you can save a lot of money by just going for the 300 yen base fee. But again, you're also not paying the currency conversion fee, so that extra 300 yen for insured, so the 800 yen total fee for Buy, even though it's 300 yen more than Zen Market, because you're not paying the currency conversion fee, it can actually work out to be less money anyway. So in general, as of the time of recording, Buy is pretty much the cheaper proxy service 10 out of 10 or 9 out of 10 times. The other catch is, as I mentioned earlier, Zen Market is 500 yen per SKU. So if you want to buy, say, a Pegasus Blast, a Caliber, and an Impact Drake, you're going to pay a 500 yen fee on the Blast, a 500 yen fee on the Caliber, and a 500 yen fee on the Drake on Zen Market. So a total of 1,500 yen in fees for that transaction. However, because it's per SKU, if you bought 5 Pegasus Blasts, one caliber and one Drake, you're still only going to pay 500 yen for the blasts because it's 500 yen per SKU. So even though you're getting 5 copies, you're still only paying the fee once because it's per SKU. So if you're doing group buys, so if like you and your friends want to go splitsies and all order your blasts together and you order like 10 of them, you're only paying the fee once, and so the cost of that fee gets split across all the copies you buy. Now, buyee is the fee is per transaction. So say you want it insured, you want to pay the 800 yen. You buy a Pegasus Blast, a Caliber, and a Drake, it's 800 yen total for the whole transaction. As long as it's all from one store, bought all at once, you pay the fee once. So that will say, it doesn't matter how many of each you buy, it doesn't matter how many SKUs you buy, it's one purchase from Amazon, 800 yen. If you don't want it insured, 300 yen for the whole transaction. That will save you, especially if you're buying like a bunch of stuff at once, that will save you like an astronomical amount of money in fees. So ideally, if you're buying off buyee, you want to buy as much stuff from one retailer as possible, because the more you buy all at once, the more you're saving in fees. So that's kind of like one of the big tricks to saving money and like kind of maximizing the value of using a proxy service. So anyway, the way this works is, so you want to buy XYZ, right? So what you do is you just go to the listing, you just copy the URL, go into your proxy. So in this case, Denmark, you hit plus, paste the URL in, you add it to your cart. After you add it to your cart, you go to My Account, which is this page here. And depending on where it's from, most of the time Zen Market will have to like manually check to make sure that the product that you've asked for is in stock. They check the domestic shipping costs, so from the retailer to the Zen Market warehouse. They figure out your fees, and then they give you a total. And then once you have to wait for them to manually, like a human being at Zen Market, to review all that before you can actually make the purchase. So you wait for that. Depending on how busy they are, what time of day it is, how many people they have working. Typically, it's pretty quick. Usually a couple minutes. At worst, it's like an hour or two, I find. Sometimes, in rare cases, it can be a couple of hours, but it's usually not too long. And then once they manually review it, they'll give you your quote, and then you can pay. So after you pay, on Zen Market, you have to like add the funds to your wallet, and then after you add the necessary funds to your wallet, you hit pay, you buy the product, and then it comes down here to paid items. And so the status will first be awaiting buying. That means you've submitted the request to buy. You have to wait for the human being working at the proxy to actually go and buy the product for you. At that point, the status switches to bought, and then you just wait for the product to arrive at the warehouse. Once it arrives at the warehouse, obviously the status changes to at warehouse. And then once everything you've bought from all the different retailers, it all arrives at the Zen Market warehouse, you hit create parcel. I can't show you this process because it has my address all over it, but it's very, very simple. It'll just bring up a page where you select which items you have in inventory that you want to create a parcel in. Create a parcel for. And then if you bought multiple quantities of those, you can actually select how many you want. So say you bought 3 blasts, maybe you only want to ship 2, you can set the quantity to 2. You can do it however you want. And then you put in your address, pick a shipping method, and then submit the request. And so that whole process is what we call parcel consolidation. So if you're buying products from Amazon, Toys R Us, and Bic Camera, you don't want to ship 3 separate parcels from Japan, because every time you ship a parcel from Japan, that's pretty expensive. So what you do is you use package consolidation, get everything you bought from all the retailers, and you put it in one box. So what Zen Market will do is they'll just open your Amazon box, take your sealed Beyblade X products, do the same for all the other retailers. So they'll open your Amazon box, they'll open your Toys R Us box, they'll open your Bic Camera box, they take everything out, all your sealed products, and just put them all together in one bigger box as if you had bought them all from one retailer. They wrap it up in bubble wrap and make sure it's super secure, almost to an excessive degree at Zen Market. They use a lot of bubble wrap. Your stuff's not going to get damaged in shipping, but it will drive up the cost of the parcel because bubble wrap does have weight, and then bubble wrap does take up space, so they're going to have to use a bigger box, and it's going to weigh more than it would on buyee. Where buyee, They ship it kind of Amazon style. They stuff in a couple of those air packets and then just throw it all in a box and away you go. But it's Beyblade X product. They're spinning metal tops that are smashing into each other anyway. They're not exactly delicate. So in my opinion, the extra parcel packing the Zen Market does is just cranking up the price of your shipping for no really good reason. Maybe if you're a store who's doing this to sell product in store and you want the parcel, like the product to look really nice on your shelf, maybe you would want Zen Market. But I think Bai also has an additional service where you can add extra packaging if that's something you're worried about. But that's just one thing to consider. I just saying, I actually prefer the way Bai does it, the sloppier, I guess you could say, consolidation. It has its pros and cons. But anyway, yeah, so you wait for once you submit the parcel consolidation request, you just wait for them to consolidate your parcel. Once it's done, they'll actually have all your parcel ready to go at the depot, have the exact weight and measurements. And so they'll give you an exact quote for shipping based on the method you chose. And then from there, if the shipping seems too expensive, you can actually change your shipping method after creating the parcel, and they'll give you exact quotes for all the different shipping methods because they already know the exact dimensions and weight of your parcel, which is really cool. And then from there, you can decide maybe UPS is only $3 more than EMS, so you'll go UPS to get it in like a fraction of the time. Or maybe it's friggin' $20-$30 cheaper to go EMS instead of UPS or DHL or FedEx, so you'll go EMS to save money. It's totally up to you. It goes on a case-by-case basis. As a general rule, the heavier more dense and heavy a thing is, usually couriers become more cost-effective than EMS, but that's something you'll just get a feel for as you get used to shipping things internationally. So anyway, that's the general process for buying stuff off of a proxy service. I'll show you the other retailers I use as well besides Amazon. I also use Toys R Us Japan. So Toys R Us Japan, kind of a similar deal to Amazon. They typically only have like a limited selection of products, most recent stuff. However, unlike Amazon, they mostly only sell stuff at MSRP. You can see right now the Infinity set is actually for pre-order on sale, which is kind of wild. But other than that, everything else is just MSRP, regular price. But their selection is, I find, a little better than Amazon's, and they don't typically have order limits. The only thing I've ever seen with an order limit on here is the Shark Scale deck set, which is a limit of 1 per person, because the Shark Scale deck set is kind of a unique release in that it's such a popular release. The demand is just insane. So they pretty much every retailer in Japan is limiting it to 1 per customer right now, just so everyone can get one. That'll go away before long, I'm sure. But the catch with Toys R Us is they only offer free shipping on 49.80 yen purchases or more, which is, around 5,000 yen basically. So if you're only going to buy 1 or 2 things from Toys R Us, it's kind of not worth it because you're going to have to pay domestic shipping, which makes it kind of immediately cost ineffective. So if you want just a Shark Scale set, not worth it. But if you want a Shark Scale set and say a Pegasus Blast, that'll put you over 5,000 yen. You're going to get free shipping. You're laughing. So that's just one thing to consider. Toys R Us is good for group buys because they don't really limit, again, other than Shark Scale, they don't limit your purchase amounts. So you can buy 10 Pegasus Blasts all at once from Toys R Us. They really don't care. So really good for group buys. Bic Camera, they're kind of like Amazon. Relatively limited selection. However, Bic Camera almost always sells everything under MSRP. They're really, really good for pricing. The only other catch with them, and they also ship very, very fast. So actually, pretty much all these retailers ship really fast. Amazon, Toys R Us, Bic Camera, they all ship really, really fast. The catch with Bic Camera is that they have a limit of 2 per purchase on all SKUs. Not all SKUs total, but per SKU. So you can only buy, in one purchase, you can only buy 2 Scorpio Spears, 2 Samurai Calibers, 2 Samurai Sabers, etc., etc. So if you want to do a group buy and get a bunch, Bic Camera is not a great option. And then the last official retailer we'll look at is Takara Tomy Mall. Takara Tomy Mall is kind of similar to Toys R Us in that they pretty much only ever sell stuff at MSRP. And honestly, their stock availability is pretty bad. I'm going to be honest. If translated to English here, you'll notice Basically, all the red buttons say add to cart. The green buttons are arrival information, so it's stuff that's coming in stock but not currently there. And then the black ones are just straight up out of stock. You'll see, like, out of all the stuff on the list, all the stuff listed on their website, like, just how little of it is, like, actually in stock. So they're not the best. They're still worth checking out if you can't find something anywhere else. Like, right now they do have shark scale sets in stock, which is really big. But the main thing I use Takara Tomy Mall for is just redeeming my app codes, because obviously you can only do that on Takara Tomy Mall. So if you want to redeem app codes, by the way, the way you do that is, say you go to the app exclusive bays. What is going on, Takara Tomy Mall? Okay, their website's offline right now. I guess I can't show you. But what you'll do is you'll find the listing for, say, the Blue Night Mail. You'll paste the URL in here. And then in the description, you'll put your redemption codes from the app. That way, the proxy seller can plunk them in and redeem the codes for you. Other than that, exact same process. Very, very simple. So those are like all the official retailers that I found and I've used. The last one is secondary sellers. So like personal ads, think like Facebook Marketplace and eBay. So you have two options. You have Japanese Yahoo Auctions and Mercari. As a general rule, Mercari is virtually always cheaper than Japanese Yahoo Auctions. So it's worth checking out Japanese Yahoo Auctions before you pull the trigger on something on Mercari, but 99% of the time it's going to be cheaper on Mercari. Not only are they listed for cheaper on Mercari, but shipping is almost always free on Mercari. It's like 99.99% of the time it's free on Mercari. Whereas Japanese Yahoo Auctions, I find you have to pay for shipping like 80% of the time. So, yeah, Japanese Yahoo Auctions I find is just not the greatest anymore. I recommend just using Mercari for the most part. So Mercari you'll use for anything you can't find at MSRP from the official retailers. So let's say for example I want to buy like a red Pegasus Blast. So what I'll do is the way I like to do it is you can, so unlike Amazon, using the search function within the proxy websites tends to work very, very well for Mercari. And you can search in English and it'll auto-translate for you, but then you're at the mercy of auto-translate. So what I like to do is I like to go on the Beyblade wiki and I find what I'm looking for, and you just go to the page for whatever bay you're looking for, and the Japanese name will always be at the top of the article. I just copy and paste it into the Mercari search. And away we go. There we go. Red Pegasus Blast, $42.43. Boy, that sure beats the, $100 or so that friggin' retail sellers are charging. Even that two of them for $78.93. So if you and a friend want one, buy the 2-in-1 listing, you're only paying the proxy fee once for two. Which means, for the case of Zen Market, of course, now their Mercari fee is 800 yen, so you'll be paying 400 yen each. Or on Bai, it's 300 yen uninsured. You're only paying 150 yen, so like $1.50 Canadian each in terms of fees for these two red blasts. So again, you just use like a little bit of logical thinking for how you go about buying things in proxy services, and you can just save a buttload of cash. This is anything like not from a retail store. Mercari is going to be the cheapest best bet. If you're looking for anything special, like again, like a red blast, think like an Aero Pegasus, Color Choice Buster. Again, any non-regular retail Beyblade X product, or even just individual parts. Like, say you're looking for a kick bit, for example, just like Beyblade X, because the auto-translate will translate Beyblade properly. Just Beyblade X, K for kick bit. And you'll just find a bunch of listings. There's white kicks. We got yellow kick. We got full combo red kicks. So you can just look for individual parts that way. You can even just type, like a ratchet, you can just type in, like, say, like 560. Of course, Takara Tomy ratchets are almost always looser than Hasbro ratchets, so I don't honestly recommend buying Takara Tomy ratchets, if I'm perfectly honest. But for bits and everything else, blade only, assist blades for CX, yada yada yada, you can find those on Mercari. Also, if you're looking for like random booster stuff, say for example, like look at this right here. Oh. So Oh, no Baco, but still. Look at this. Complete set of CX-05, all 6 bays in that random booster, $103. Like, that's wild. You can, if you want a full set of everything in a random booster, this is by far your best way of doing it. Trying to like buy random boosters and then hope you get one of each is probably not the safest or smartest way to spend your money. If you want them all, just buy a full set of Mercari. You're going to save a lot of money in the long run. This is by far the best way to get random booster stuff. Or if you just want one particular thing, like I want a CX-05 Leon Crest for the white kick and the 980, I guess. Look at that. 1690 yen. That's only 90 yen more than the retail price of the booster, and you're getting the exact thing you want. So you're just cutting out the gamble. Mercari, awesome place to buy. I think not even awesome. I'm going to say Mercari is the best place to buy random booster stuff. I do not recommend buying random boosters. It can be fun to gamble, but the problem with random boosters, and I'm sure you might have heard this somewhere else, but random boosters, when they ship to retailers, they're actually not random. So they're actually shipped in the same order in each shipping case to the retailers. So the prize bays will always be in the same place in the carton, and some crafty retailers can actually figure out, especially if they're resellers, they'll actually buy full cases, figure out which ones are where, pull out all the prize bays, sell them individually for a massive markup, and then just sell the crappy stuff as random boosters. So if you've ever found that you buy a bunch of random boosters and you're always getting garbage, that's probably what's happening. That's why I don't if you're gonna buy random boosters, buy them from like a reputable retailer. Toys R Us, Bic Camera, that's the kind of Takara Tomy Beyblade. Those are the places I'd be buying random boosters from. I would never recommend buying them from Amazon. I don't trust Amazon, especially third-party sellers, like marketplace sellers, to not screw you on random boosters. So again, with Mercari, so with fees, every Mercari listing is technically a separate SKU, so you're going to pay the proxy fee once for each listing on Mercari you buy. But again, for Mercari, like you can find listings that have more than one of the thing you're looking for if you want multiple. More often than not, those stuff you buy on Mercari, you're probably only going to want one of anyway, so it doesn't really make a difference. And it's still, even though you're going to pay the fee for each thing you buy on Mercari, it's still going to be by far the cheapest way of getting the stuff that you would want off of Mercari. So that's it. You use a combination. So to get stuff as cheap as possible, you check the official retailers, you check Mercari, you just find out where you can get what you're looking for as cheap as you want, or as cheap as you can, and you buy it through the proxy seller. And that is the cheapest way to get Japanese Takara Tomy product in the West. So that's pretty much everything you need to know as far as proxies. It's honestly a pretty straightforward process. Honest to God, this is probably something you don't need to watch a guide for, but a lot of people seem to think there's some kind of esoteric knowledge as far as like importing Japanese product goes, and I'm making this video just to show how simple it really is. So, lastly, there are some Japanese retailers that will ship internationally. Again, there's Amazon, don't recommend it. There's Hobbyline Japan is probably the most well-known one. The problem with them is their stock availability is so bad that I don't even bother checking them anymore. Every time I go on there, there's literally nothing good in stock. It's kind of a waste of time. However, I do know of one nifty little website that I found when I was first getting into the hobby that most people don't know about. They're called Plaza Japan, and their prices are a bit iffy. Some things are really good, like Soul Eclipse, $25. That's MSRP. Same with Scorpio, MSRP, $22. UX10, there's a bit of a markup there, $88.67, but not bad. And they just ship directly to you internationally. Like, even there, Samurai Saber, $31. That's like, I think it's below MSRP. So, It's worth checking Plaza Japan. If you can get stuff around MSRP on here, you can dodge the proxy fee because obviously they're just a retailer. They'll ship it to you internationally, and you can actually save money this way. Again, it varies from SKU to SKU. Like, so you can see they have a bit of a markup on Pegasus Blast, but not massive. If you only want one blast, $32, it would be $26 plus $5 proxy fee for Zen Market, for example. That's $31. You're only paying a $1 markup. That's really, really not bad. And then their shipping options are totally reasonable as well. They have lots of options. So it's actually worth, before you buy something on a proxy, you can check out Plaza Japan. Some stuff a lot of stuff they have is well priced. Some of it not so much. Your mileage will vary, but I do recommend checking here from time to time because you actually can save a fair bit of money buying stuff off Plaza Japan rather than just going straight to the proxy services. One last place you can check. This is not Japanese. It's actually AliExpress. Be careful on AliExpress because obviously there are a lot of fakes on AliExpress. Generally, if the price seems too good to be true, it usually is. However, for a lot of like non-regular product, for some of the more rare stuff, the supply and demand ratio in Japan versus like Hong Kong or China or wherever else in the Asia region these products are coming from, Taiwan, the supply demand ratio is sometimes better in those Asian markets, and so rare blades can sometimes be more expensive on Mercari than they are on AliExpress. A good example right now is Koro Phoenix. It goes for like $250 to $300 right now, Canadian. On again, all these. Whenever I say dollars, I'm going by Canadian dollar. They're like $250 to $300 Canadian on Mercari right now, but they're only $200 on AliExpress. So for stuff like that, it's actually worth checking AliExpress before you pull the trigger on Mercari as well. Of course, you will have an Asian barcode, and Asian barcodes are just like strictly worse than Japanese ones because you got to use like a sketchy service like Portal Zero or Noah Guy in Asia to redeem them. But Japanese codes you can just redeem yourself on Takara Tomy Mall, as I showed. So you do have that asterisk, but if you're saving enough money, it can still be worth buying stuff on AliExpress, and then you're not paying the proxy fee. And anecdotally, here in Canada, I find on AliExpress I don't typically have to pay customs, so you can save some money there as well. So it's worth considering. Again, just be careful on AliExpress. There's a lot of fakes. If they're trying to sell a shark scale deck set for $27 right now, obviously it's fake. Like, if you use common sense, you can typically suss out the fake listings relatively easy on AliExpress. And for regularly available product, I do find AliExpress is almost always going to be more expensive than buying through a proxy service from Japan. So I would only really recommend AliExpress for the oddball rare thing that happens to be cheaper on AliExpress. And it's only some things too, like more common rare things still tend to be cheaper in Japan. Like if you're going to buy a black phoenix, for example, a black mammoth, that kind of thing, black goon, those are all cheaper on Mercari. But either way, those are just all options you consider. It's worth checking into them all and just spend your money wisely. Always put that little bit of time in, find the cheapest place you can buy a product from, and then get it from there. Another big reason to not be buying from domestic quote-unquote resellers, in my honest opinion, I'm just going to call them what they are. They're scalpers. They're also, one thing I've noticed in common with all of the local resellers that are overcharging, they're almost all Asian product. And go figure, things are typically more expensive on AliExpress. It is just more economical to import Japanese product. If someone is trying to sell you Asian product, most of the time you're going to be overpaying as a general rule of thumb. You can just keep that in mind. And on top of that, you're getting inferior Asia codes that are harder to redeem. So just get the Japanese product. You're going to spend less money. It's going to be easier. You're going to be happier. Again, the exception would be if you have a local store that runs events that's selling product in store. Those can be really nice too. Yes, they're going to charge a markup, but you also have the convenience of just walking into a store and buying it. If, say, you have a bay that you use regularly and it breaks and you need one now because, oh my god, I have a tournament tomorrow, you just walk into your store and buy it. Yeah, you're going to pay a little more than you would importing it yourself, but then you have it right away for the tournament, right? And then you're supporting your local store that's giving you and the rest of your local Beyblade X scene a place to actually get together and play the game. So cut your local stores some slack. It's the online-only sellers, the people who just sell product and nothing else just to make a quick buck off the backs of ignorance of the community, people who don't know how easy it is to import product themselves. Those are the people I think you should be avoiding. Some of those people are going to be very, very angry at me probably for making this video, but frankly, they can suck it. I don't really care. I don't think what they're doing is a fair and legitimate business practice. I think it's just exploitation is what it is. So anyway, yeah, with that rant out of the way, I think that's pretty much all I have to say. I hope this video was helpful to you in some way. I'm not going to do the whole YouTube thing because I can't really commit to making content regularly. But if you found this video helpful, please share it. If anyone is asking, where can I get Takara Tomy product? What's the cheapest place to get it? Etc. Link in this video. I hope my goal in making this video is just to help the community get the product they want as cheap as they can. Because let's be honest, this game can be expensive enough as it is. Let's not make it any more expensive than it needs to be. I want to see the Beyblade X community in the West flourish. In order to do that, people need to have access to what they need without breaking the bank. So anyway, thank you for watching. I hope this was helpful, and have fun.